Hey guys, mic check. Alright, so if this is your first time on the channel, welcome to our YouTube channel. Do not mind my setup here. This is my way of canceling the background noise for now, so you are able to hear me clearly. Alright, next, let's get into it. So welcome to the channel again. I am San, and this video, well, I feel the title of the video is going to be not sure, maybe something like losing everything, gaining everything, or how I overcame the fear of losing stability and foundation, and what that process looked like for me. So this is me just sharing that part of my journey, right? All right, so I don't want this to be very long, so let's get into it. So I'm going to be talking mostly about 4 main things. Stability for me has to do with a secure home, financial stability, which we gain from our career or how we earn an income. Your job, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, however you gain income, earn income, right? Your home, stability, financial, stability. Your relationship, you can be, stability can show up in the form of your relationship, a stable relationship, or relationships, because relationship is very broad. It could be with a partner or, your family. And then I'm going to add in my car, because that was a part of the whole process of losing everything. All right, so just a little backstory. I grew up in a very stable home. I grew up with my grandparents, married. I grew up with some of my siblings, and so it was a home that was very secure and stable. As kids or as a child, because there's a saying that no two child has the same parent. But for me, growing up, I felt very secure, very stable. I didn't have to worry about anything. I had no concerns when it came on to my stability. The foundation of my home, or being provided for, being taken care of, feeling safe, I had no concern, right? And so I was very used to that. And even though I didn't grow up with my parents, I also had a sense of security when it came on to my mom and my dad, who grew me. I have 3 fathers. Lucky me. But yeah, I felt very safe and very secure growing up as a child. As time progressed, as I got older, started to attend high school. Ooh, that was loud. There's kids playing, so I'm just gonna make this video because it's long overdue. Was in high school, and then moved away from my grandparents, and I was living with my mom at the time, and then my mom moved away, and then during the course of that time, I slowly started to lose stability. For me, feeling safe and secure came with a stable home and family, and having no concerns or worry or fear. I started to lose that sense of security, right? Because now it was kind of like I was put out. No, not put out like how they say put out in Jamaica, but I was placed out into the world to grow and to see what independence looks like. And so in my late teenage years, I had to find an apartment on my own, and I had to start taking care of myself financially. And so I lost that sense of stability, right? I lost it. And while I was going through it, it was kind of, it hurt. It hurt a lot, and it was kind of chaotic, and I didn't know what I was doing. But one thing I knew, I just kept going. Like, I just kept like, okay, I just need a roof over my head. That was like, I just need a roof over my head. I just need a roof over my head, and everything's going to be okay. Not that I couldn't go back and live with my grandparents, but I was a teenager. I was living in Kingston, and that never crossed my mind, right? So, got my own apartment. I was paying my own bills, and I was earning income some way. I would think I was selling stuff. And then, my best friend was with me at the time, and she is a go-getter, and so she is very innovative, and she's an entrepreneur from birth. And also, I realized I didn't want to work for anybody at a very young age. Like, as a child, I always wanted to have 5 kids, get married, and become a doctor, teacher, lawyer, or flight attendant. But that changed. When you go to high school, you're like, oh, for me, that changed. All that changed. And so I realized I didn't want to work for anyone. So I lost that stability, and I had to start taking care of myself. And from that point on, I had to rely on myself when it comes on to just taking care of me. That's the backstory, right? So what I'm focusing on happened within the last 2 to 3 years, right? I'd say most of it was like in 2 years, but let's say 2 to 3 years, because some of the things that were taking place not behind the scenes, some of the things that were taking place I was just not aware of at the time, because I wasn't aware of myself as I am today. I wasn't aware of the things that were happening in my life. I didn't know why things were happening, what the meaning was, what the lesson was. I wasn't very aware. And 2 years ago, or 3, I keep forgetting, but I started to have an awakening. That's what we call it, an awakening. Returning to yourself, becoming more aware of yourself, becoming more aware of the you that was shut down, and the you that is behind all the conditions that we received growing up as a child, right? So I started to connect more to that person, and this looked very chaotic and very lonely and very scary, because everything that was once in my reality, or how I perceived my reality, was shifting, and everything was changing, and it was scary for me. Okay, I had a home, I was in a relationship, I had a career that I had built, I had my car. I'm going to talk about my car that I bought, and so I was okay. I had these things, and I was like, yes, I have these things, and I'm okay, and I'm moving on to gaining more stuff, and I have to just keep going because I can't lose these things. And okay, I had this thing in my head where I'm like, I'm afraid of losing all of these things. There was so much fear around losing these things, losing a home, losing my career, my job that I had, built and created, and that was sustaining me for a very long time, like over 5 years. Losing my relationship, ooh, that's loud. And so there was so much fear surrounding these things. And when everything started to crumble, I had to grip my pearls. No, but for real, guys, it was very scary for me. And what I resorted to was staying grounded and staying present. For me, what does that mean? I had already started an awakening process. Remember, this is happening, all of this is happening at the same time. This grand awakening, lessons being thrown at me, it's all happening at the same time. And in order for me to really get through all of that, I had to remain grounded. So I tried to stay present, like, in the days, grounding and just not focusing so much on the things that I didn't want or the things that I was afraid of losing, even though it was like right here at the front of, my mind, like all the time. The first thing that happened was the relationship that I was currently in. The issues started to become bigger, grander. We weren't agreeing. It just wasn't meshing. It just wasn't meshing. And that was the first lesson. Fear of being alone, codependency, and self-love. There was some self-love in that lesson as well for both of us. And it was very hard. And I was not very used to being alone, because even though I don't like being single, right? That was a thing. I don't like being single. I liked having a partner. I liked coming home to someone. So when that started to crumble, I was afraid of leaving. I didn't want to leave, even though there was a strong need for me to step away, pull away, right? I didn't want to. But eventually, whenever there's something that you need to do, that is for your highest good, that you are being called to do, it will keep staring in your face, and it will continue to get worse, as we would say, until you finally surrender and you finally listen to your inner voice and listen to the soul calling that you have, which is like, step away now, retreat, pull back, let go, release, and move forward. That was the first thing for me. And then it was a domino effect, right? Because we had a home, and that meant now I would have to find another home, and I would have to create another, home. So I found that. I created that. That was the first thing that happened, right? And then I found out, created, I was like, okay, fine. Boom. Lesson 1, done. Moving on, right? Then I created a home. I still had my career. Everything was fine. And then my calling started to come up more. So it was more amplified. It was more, it was becoming stronger. And this is because I was reconnecting with myself more. So I was doing like a lot of inner work, a lot of healing, a lot of clearing, a lot of reconnecting, right? There's like a whole nother story to this, but I'm focusing on the things that I lost or had to release and let go in order to gain everything that I have right now, right? There was a lot of healing process happening in the background for me, and that had to do with self first, and then sharing my gifts with other people. And so created a home, right? Hi, birdies. And then I started to lose passion for the career that I had built for over 5 years, right? And it started to get worse. I didn't want to go to work. Um, I was being pulled more in the direction of focusing on what I had, this new passion and this new joy and this new magnetic pull was like pulling me towards. I was being called to that. And when I made the connection to my calling, it's never broken. It's never been broken. It's always been like this solid connection the entire time, right? And it's like, yeah, never broke. So that was kind of like my guiding light, my North Star, throughout this entire process. Like, what's my aim? What am I focusing on? Where am I going? How can I trust this process? My calling. Like, whenever I focused on my calling, I just felt so free. I felt so happy. I felt so passionate. I felt so joyful. It doesn't matter what was happening around me. Once I was focusing on that calling, absolutely nothing mattered around me. So I knew that once I was heading in that direction, I was in alignment, right? So I started to lose passion for this career that is sustaining me and that I had created. And it slowly started to show in the physical, like in my work. And even the persons that were around me, you know, we were in the same space. They could, well, you know, they could see that something was off because I used to be this, you know, cheerful, bubbly person who was like very excited to come into work, and I would work from, you know, 8 to 5. The hours started cutting down, and it just wasn't it for me. But this was what this is how I earned an income. This is what takes care of my home, you know, all the bills, home, the business, you know, the shop, the car, the life. This is what took care of me. And I was afraid of releasing that and letting that go as well. And it just kept getting worse. Like I said, whenever you are supposed to let go and release something, there's gonna be a whole lot of resistance. So it just got worse. Like, whenever I'm supposed to go to work, it's like I have no energy, I have no joy, I have no passion. The only thing that kept me going during that time frame between when I finally decided to walk away and when I was still working was just seeing the clients and interacting with them. And whenever I was around the clients, you know, I would still feel a sense of service because I'm providing a service that makes them smile or make them, you know, joyful, even if it was waxed and it was a little bit painful. So that was the only thing. But after a while, even that could have saved me. So eventually, these things happened all at once, right? Eventually, it just got to a point where I was like, I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore. But if I shut down this business, it simply means that I am also going to have to give up my apartment, which would kind of make me homeless, right? And right before these two things transpired, my car crashed. So I was like, okay, this is real nice. No, I didn't say that. I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, I am tired. So the car crashed. And to everybody around me, I'm not talking about my close family or those who understand what an awakening is, or, you know, understand what an awakening is. Not those people. Just like, you know, I know some of my family members, they had concerns. Some of the, you know, my friends had concerns like, oh, what are you doing? The people I worked with, they were like, girl, I don't know what's happening, but you need to focus. Here's one thing that happened right before this, you know, big crash. I started to meet the most amazing set of people. I started to meet the most loving, nurturing, kind, caring people. And majority of them were not even from this island, right? And we became a family, and we still are a family. You know, I also met a lot of people that are no longer around, but then that was like a whole another thing where we have to learn that sometimes people come in and out of our lives. They're here for a reason and then they move on. I also have met people who I've connected with and created um, experiences with that are just like, you know, the coolest. They're the most fun, loving, caring. I started to feel joy. I started to feel love. I started to feel freedom. I started to feel gratitude. And these people were teaching me that, like, the universe was showing me what happiness really looked like, what joy looked like, what freedom looked like, what what my reality could look like. And I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. Woo, let me grab onto this. This is nice, right? And I was still connected to my calling because then I started to do more healing work. And during that time, I learned, remembered and learned the art of Reiki. So now I'm a master Reiki practitioner. I channel. Um, I work with sound therapy. I'm just flowing and vibing. And then um, it was time for me to walk away from this career that I had built because the shift included me leaving behind this thing. But there was still some fear around the stability and, shmoney, right? So I was like, one day, actually, I had a plan. I was like, okay, I'm going to give up this apartment. I'm just going to finish this, give up this career, and I'm going to just start over. And I had like a plan, right? And then the minute I put in my, what's it called? Notice, to my landlord. And yeah, the minute I did that, my plan crumbled. It just crumbled. And I call it crumbled, but it's like, I feel like if that didn't happen, if I didn't, I needed to have a plan because this is me. I need a plan. I needed to have a plan in order for me to meet the next step. They're like, okay, you know, my team was like, okay, well, yeah, this is your plan. Do you feel safe? Is that your security? All right, cool. Okay, so send in your notice. The minute I sent that notice in, yeah, there was another shift. So I didn't have a plan now, and I didn't have an apartment, and I had 30 days. And the 30 days that I had, as much as you would think they were supposed to be scary for me, I didn't feel as much fear. I was like, okay, I surrender because I'm gonna be taken care of. And I started to trust my inner guidance more. I started to trust the universe more to take care of me and not take on that responsibility so much, so heavily. And when I gave up the apartment, I gave up my career as well. I gave up my shop space. I gave up everything. So even though I say I lost everything, I had to let go of everything because I had fear of losing those things. And one of my challenges to overcome in this lifetime is fear. And so whatever I fear the most will be the thing that I have to face the most. And so I feared losing stability, losing foundation, losing relationship, just losing all of that. Those things that I had, people, places, things, people, places, and things. And I had to lose it all. I had to let it go. I had to let it all go. And when I did that, then I had to trust the universe. And I had to trust my inner guidance system to guide me to the next place, to the next step, right? And so I didn't have a home, and nobody knew this. Well, yeah, people knew, but you couldn't tell because I was living my life still. I was like, there was this sense of freedom that I'm not able to put into words. A feeling. There was this sense of freedom. It's like freedom from the illusion of fear. it's a feeling, it's an energy, and it's real. And that was gone. And so that was replaced with an abundance of love, just unconditional love for people and things and plants and animals. And then there was like this grand understanding of you are connected to everything, but you are attached to none of these things, and that's okay. You know, you are free to grow and change and release and let go and move on and gain. And you're moving, and as you're moving through life and you're growing, you have to understand that there will be changes, and there will come a time where you have to leave this job in order for you to move on to the next step of your journey, right? And there will come a time when you have to walk away from this relationship in order for you to meet another version of yourself. Oop. Meet new people, have different experiences, grow, heal yourself, so that when you show up in a relationship, you show up as a healed version of yourself, right? So that's the letting go of everything part, and the gaining everything is where I am now, right? The gaining everything is where I am now. What do I have? What is abundance for me? Child, abundance for me is joy and happiness and freedom. And even though we need money here, I have that, you know? And it's always coming to me. And that's something that I know. And that's something that I'm not concerned about. And I am taken care of, like, in the most, you know, it's like every day I'm just like, wow, universe, you just spoil me. You really do spoil me. I'm taken care of. I have a beautiful family. I'm surrounded by amazing people. I'm free from myself, my self-critical thoughts. I'm free from the illusion of fear that I had created and surrounded myself with. I have an abundance of peace that is within me that I have created, which means nobody can take it away. It's abundance. I am filled with gratitude. I'm filled with compassion. I am being led to more amazing things, more amazing people. I am growing. It's like, but the freedom of everything for me is just amazing. And this includes, I hope you can hear me over this little dog, but the freedom from everything is one of the most amazing feelings for me. There's no fear of judgment or how people perceive me, or what people might say or think. Because when you go on this journey, one thing you have to understand is only you will understand and know what is happening in your reality. And so sometimes you can't really worry or focus too much on the opinions of others, because then you'll get distracted and confused. Like, I had family members who didn't understand what was going on and why I was basically throwing my life away, but I knew that I was on a journey and they couldn't see it. It's my reality, and I had to keep going, right? And I feel like when you are on a journey and you are being directed to something greater, to another version of yourself, you have to be confident and you have to be grounded in knowing that you are trusting your inner guidance system. You have to be confident in knowing that you are being taken care of by the universe, not by an individual or not by the people around you. The people around you are not obligated to take care of you. And so if you place an obligation on people around you to take care of you, then you are always going to be disappointed. You have to place that trust in yourself and in your guidance system, your higher self, and the universe, God, source, whatever it is that you call it. Place that trust there that you are taken care of, and whatever other challenges that you have to overcome, just know that you have to face them. And once you overcome them, then you are able to see like the bigger picture, and it looks beautiful. It looks amazing. And now what do I do for a living? I exist as an interdimensional, loving, beautiful being who is free and who's growing and learning and capable and healing, guiding, teaching, and sharing. That is what I do for a living. Thank you very much. All right, so yeah, that's my 2 cents. As you can see, the sun has gone down. Yes, and yeah, I hope that this video gives you the courage that you need to make your next step in whatever area of your life that you need to make the next step in. I'm sharing this on whatever platform it needs to be shared on. Yeah, that's it for now. Don't forget to follow on my Instagram page at san_Tavia, because I'll definitely be posting more content there. And I'm looking forward to the interaction there because I'm not very present there. And you can follow our healing page at Reiki_spot. So that's Reiki spot, Reiki_spot. Obviously, this is our YouTube channel, and you can also find us on Facebook. That's all I have for today. Have a beautiful rest of the day, and remember to always lead with love. Bye.